Hello, hello, hello. It's Wednesday. Gonzo, do you like a Wednesday?
Well, I like it now. Wednesdays are good. Wednesday's a cup of tea day, isn't it, really? It seems to be anyway.
I used to like Wednesdays. Wednesday is like my motivation tool for the week. And when I tell my team, and I used to tell my team on the Wednesdays, say we're now halfway through the week. We're over halfway. So then the rest of the week's shorter than the week we've just passed. We're now looking forward. So that used to be my motivation. But the problem with this Wednesday is we've got less than a week before the end of the transfer window. So this is not a good Wednesday in a way, because the next Wednesday it's finished. It's the day after the transfer window next Wednesday.
It's transfer window finishes on Tuesday next week, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll discuss that in a second, won't we? I don't think there's going to be an awful lot happening to be perfect by the looks of things, anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what we're here to discuss, I suppose. Right, we've got a plug. We're going to get this over and done with, first of all. As you may know, if you've been watching our videos, keeping your eye on the official website, anything really, there's flags going up at the London Stadium. Now, we fancy a Hammers chat flag, so we need your help. We need your help. We can't afford one. Any money we get from YouTube, the forum, etc., goes into our mobile phone app and the forum. And we did it all in the summer. It cost a poor figure sum of money. We still had debt. We're still paying off our Hammers Chat debt, unfortunately. So we need your money. We want a flag.
We're like students. We're like a couple of students, really, basically.
Well,
we need baked beans on toast. We need baked beans on toast.
Yeah, so basically, we have a lot of Hammers Chat debt. We're like David Gold and David Sullivan. We have a lot of debt, but we just don't speak about it.
But we've got fantastic transport links.
Yeah, we've got iconic transfer links and a fantastic surrounding. You know, I've got a poster and a curtain.
Oh, look, Nick. Look at that, Nick. Crossed Hammers. There you go. Thank you. Nick sent me some Southampton tickets.
The difference is we're closer to our camera than we are to the pitch. But our plug is essentially down below. There's a link for a GoFundMe account. If you wish to donate and help, you can do. All the money is going to a flag, which we need designs for it. There's people out there that are good with Photoshop. There is definitely, and even if you're rubbish with Photoshop, use paint. Okay, we will make it nicer. And come on the forum and put your designs up. Give us an idea. Any ideas you got for a Hammers Chat flag, we want to see them. So the link below is for GoFundMe, though. And we can't offer anything in return, really, except a thank you. And we appreciate it. But we'll kick on with the football stuff now. Well, we've done enough plugging.
Absolutely, yeah. Crack on.
What do you want to start with? Who do you want to start with?
Well, just make sure, by the way, the flag designs, let's not have Dimitri Payet on the flag. We got stung. I haven't got any stuff here. We had a load of cards printed, didn't we? They all had Payet on them. So we've stitched up. We've got about 500 Hammers Chat cards lying around somewhere.
And we're still paying those cards off.
Yeah. Perhaps we're not as good businessmen as Gold and Sullivan. Let's go with Snodgrass.
Well, that's handy, actually, because you're at the top of my list. I was hoping you would say him. But yeah, let's talk about him then. What do you want to say?
Well, if I've got my news correct, we were interested. We put a bid in. I think 3 million. You can never be sure of the bids.
3 million.
Okay, well, it may or may not have been that. I don't know. Middlesbrough came in, I think, bid 6 million. I think we then upped our bids to something shy of 6 million. And now I think Burnley have come in with 9 or 10 million and have had the bid accepted. So it just looks like we've been blown out of the water by Burnley, the other claret and blue team. Which is, I'm not bothered. I never wanted Snodgrass, but I just don't think it's. We just got in too low. Hull were never going to sell their best player, who's got I think 7 goals, 3 assists, or maybe it's the other way around, for a derisory sum of 3 million. Not when Premier League survival hangs in the balance.
The worst thing is when we bid 3 million, right? When we bid 3 million and we did the show that night or the next night or whatever, we basically laughed at the bid, right? Us football fans laughed at the thought of putting in a £3 million bid for Snodgrass. But our football experts actually had the gumption to do it, which is quite insulting. But anyway, while we did that, we said, how much is he worth? And we sat here and we said, probably about 10 million. 10 million is probably his actual market value. So we can work it out. It makes me wonder why the club thought 3 million was an acceptable fund. Do you think maybe they're just bidding for the sake of bidding and they actually thought, hang on, best not bid 5 million because they might actually accept it. So let's go 3 million so they definitely don't accept it.
I think, reading between the lines, and all we can do is think and guess, they were going to go up incrementally, go up 3, 5, 7, 9. And I think we were desperate at the time we started bidding. Relegation, we were looking over our shoulders. There was no doubt about it. And I think a little run of results has pushed us up there. And now they're probably thinking, well, hold on a second. Do we really want to go up to 7 or 9 million? We've got 28 points now. We can probably get through to the end of the season. We'll definitely can. 38 points is going to see you more than safe this season. 10 more points and we're safe. Do they really want to spend that? And that's why I think they've basically not gone up. They've probably left it. I just don't think they really want him. And I think probably the amount they've bid represents how much they want him.
My concern, if you want to call that, is someone at the club wanted him at some point, right? Who wanted him? Was that Tony Henry one, which doesn't really smell like a Tony Henry signing to me. I think he likes to try and find a rough diamond, a gem somewhere. I think he looks to go get value, and Snodgrass, while he'll give you a return on your 10 million, you're not going to sell him for more than 10 million in a couple of years. And I wonder if that's what Tony Henry's sort of criteria is. When you look at, Lanzini, Fernandez, they all have a sell on value. Should that be the plan at some point? So then that leaves two people. That leaves Bilic and David Sullivan. Is that David Sullivan signing? Well, he's not from South America and he's not on loan, so probably not. So that leaves just one guy for me. And I do wonder if that's our manager's choice again. That if it's 10 million, I'm sorry, but you've just got to go get 10 million. Whether I want him or you want him is a different question. I always think Snodgrass is like a meh signing. At 5 million, I'd say, yeah, bargain. He'd be a good squad player for the next 18 months or so. But after that, we'd be thinking, well, we've got to get rid of him. We've got to try and offload him somehow. I don't want him for 10 million. But if our manager does, do you just have to go get him?
I think so. Me and mate Marcus used to play a career on FIFA, not an online thing. We just used to play it against a computer. And he used to say, he used to get the transfer. He'd say, cheeky bid. I used to say, Marcus, don't bother, mate. Honestly, there's no point. And he'd basically go out there and bid 3 million for people that are worth 20 million. You say, you never know, it might happen. Well, it never happened. And it just seems that maybe Marcus has taken over transfers at our club. I don't know, but it just seems that that's what's going on. He just bidding in a hope because they like bidding. Really, there just doesn't seem any solid plan, if you know what I mean, to actually go or highlighting one particular player and thinking, right, that's it, that's who we'll go for. As I say, am I bothered? I think it might have been a necessity had we have been in the pickle that we were in before. I'm not sure we need to go and get Snodgrass now. I'd like to get safe, and we're not going to qualify for Europe, so it means we won't get thrashed by Astra again next year anyway. So I'd almost like to see us get safe and then play Queener or Samuelson or somebody like that. So I don't see the urgency for myself, but I just think, well, you know what, if you're going to bid, then at least go for it. Be sure, have the courage of your convictions, be sure of your actions. Say, that's the guy we want. We're going to go and get him. You've said it before. I think when Liverpool went in for Mane, you said they were very sure in the way they executed that transfer. And I just would have liked to have seen us do that for a player. Hogan, take your pick. Just go, right, bang, that's our player. We're going to go and get him. We're not going to wait. Excuse me. We're not going to wait for 3 or 4 weeks. Transfer done. Let's get on with the season.
Yeah, you can let us know if you want Snodgrass. Me and Gonzo are never really a big one for him. He plays right wing for me, and we've got Antonio Faguli now. You can play there. You can't play him left wing because he's not fast enough or he's not skillful enough to beat his man and go past him, unfortunately. So that's why he plays on the right, so he can cut in. And I just don't see where he fits. I don't think we need him as such. One guy we're going to have to speak about, and he's not a West Ham player, it's a West Ham sort of in the know type person, which is jinxed over on Knees Up Mother Brown tonight, said that the Snodgrass bid is actually still going, but it's on hold. And they're waiting to see what happens with Dimitri Payet. And whether that's to cover Payet's role or whether it's for the funds. Now, he's actually insinuated it's for the funds because he said the Hogan deal is also on hold because he's waiting for funds. But extra some point he says waiting for Bilic to give the okay. Which do you think's more true?
Well, I don't know. I don't know Jinxed. I don't know the whole setup there. I listened to the Phoenix radio show tonight, so obviously I heard what the fellas said on that one. My understanding, even without knowing what anyone else has said, my understanding of the situation was that Bilic was waiting to rubber stamp it. Bilic wasn't sure because we've discussed it before. As I've said, that's not exactly a ringing endorsement to see if he can sneak Defoe in at the last minute, or he doesn't really want him. He wants to see if Sacco can come back. take your pick. That would be the one I would be going for.
Yeah, I mean, I want Hogan as well, but it just, for some reason, I'm not surprised to read that we've got a couple of players lined up where we're just waiting to see if we can offload first. And it's just a little bit, where's the money going? Where's this Zaza's? If Zaza had done well and we triggered his appearance fee this window, it would be 17 million we'd have to plough out to Juve. So 8 million of that's gone on Fonte. Fair enough, right? Done. But where's the other 9 million? Let's just say 10. And that's without any sort of money to spend in January, full stop. I mean, I don't believe we have zero money to spend in January, but where is the cash? It's a little bit. We're now on the 25th of January and we ain't got no striker.
No, I just think there's something else going on with it. To be honest with you, I think I think we have got money, reading between the lines, but I don't think it's the right time for us to spend it now. I don't think that I would have liked to seen us go out and buy Daniel Sturridge, as we said at the very, very start. 25 million, bang, done. I don't think the whole thing was as lucrative as it was made out to be. I don't think we got as much for Upton Park as was maybe suggested. I think there's a whole number of things that basically we don't have as much money as before. I think we might have a similar level of debt as we started with. And I think, reading between the lines, actually we're pretty desperate for this season's TV money. And then next season's season tickets, I think then we'll probably start to see the club having a little bit more money. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're just treading water up until that point and there's not the big amounts of money that we all sort of hope that there would be at the moment. I don't think the cupboard's bare, but I don't think we've got anywhere near the money that we hoped we would. I think we're almost a year behind following the stadium move, is what I'm saying.
I think questions will have to be asked if that's the case, because I don't know. It feels like we've been misled a little bit, but that's for another show. But in terms of the transfer window, what does this mean if Payet doesn't go? We don't buy anyone, that Hogan and that get written off because we haven't sold our player. I think, we're one injury away from Andy Carroll to having almost like a mini striker crisis up front. We're going to throw Fletcher in, and the only other striker we've got is Caleri. Sacco's out until March. Martinez is now out on loan, so we've now got Fletcher and Caleri and Carroll, and that's it. I know you can play Ayew up there, but he's away at the African nations. You can play Antonio up there, but these are stopgaps. This is what we're trying to get away from. And it just feels like, I don't know. I think everyone's looking through their fingers a little bit, thinking if you risk this striker situation, it could go tits up very quickly. And the worst thing is we don't have a game until after the window shuts. So the chance of Carroll getting injured before the window shuts is probably quite slim, because they'll be looking after him in training, etc.
Yeah.
So, the last thing you want, you can just see it, can't you, against Man City, Carroll coming off injured early with a groin strain, out for months, and we've got Ashley Fletcher leading the line for the rest of the season. No disrespect to Ashley Fletcher, of course, but it's not ideal. And while you say we're looking like we're safe, of course we are, but you can look how quick we got out of it. That's how quickly you can get dragged straight back into the bloody thing.
We can, but what I think we still would, but I think if your scenario happened, we would sort of stutter over the line, to use an athletics term. Do you know what I mean? We would literally be stumbling, falling, crawling, knackered, puffing and panting as we went past the finishing post, sort of thing. So I think we would do it, but it certainly wouldn't be convincing. It wouldn't be good. And you have to expect that Carroll's going to be injured, and that's not being nasty. That is just going by his record of the last 4 or 5 years. You have to anticipate that he will pick up one more injury this season. If he doesn't, then there's been some sort of metamorphosis, hasn't there? And something big has changed, because usually he won't play sort of 25, 30 games in a season. So if he does, it would be miraculous, to say the least. Yeah, I'd say we need a striker. We'd certainly do. And if Hogan's that man, go out and get him. But if we get him, can we please play him? That's all I would say.
I think we'll have to. I think we will, to be honest. I don't think we've got enough players not to play him. Let's talk about the other guy who's linked with a move today, actually. Reece Oxford, a move out on loan to the Rangers. What did you make of that?
I wasn't sure when I first saw Rangers. Thought it was Queen's Park Rangers. Then I realised it was up in Scotland. I'd love to see him go out on a loan. And that's, I mean, you tell us in a second what the standard's like, but he needs to play football. So, oh dear, that's not good, is it? You just grunted at the camera.
Well, it's not going to do much good in terms of ability. He's not going to come up against a better striker, a bar 2 or 3 strikers up here. He's not going to come up against anyone that's going to test him compared to what he would get in League One. But League One also have 2 or 3 players that would really test him as well. Are probably good enough for the Championship, etc. I think if he did come to Scotland, I think I'd expect him to get game time anyway, which is good. I think Rangers is quite a big club to an extent. I think they're bigger than any League One club in terms of fan base, pressure, media, etc. up here. I think it would toughen him up mentally. It would probably toughen him up physically. If he was up here, you'll see a lot of 50-50 in the air. You better get ready to get your elbows out and get up there for it type thing. And you get away with it up here a little bit. I think it's a good club actually for him for 6 months. It can't do any harm really. Like I said, he's not going to come up against the best striker. But what I would love to see him do is line up in an Old Firm game. That'll test him and put him up against Celtic, Dembele, Scott Sinclair. But it's not just the players; it's the whole millions of fans around the world watching that TV. You did it at the Emirates, Reece, but can you do it in an Old Firm derby, one of the biggest derbies in the world? I would like to see him. I would almost like to see him go on loan for 5 months just to see him in that one fixture, just to see him play and to say, can you handle this? And I think he will actually. I think he'd breeze through up here. I think he'd look, to put in context, Stephen Henry looked like a really, really good left back up here, and he's struggled at Blackburn Rovers. So I think Reece will cruise through it. So are your thumbs up for that loan move if it goes ahead?
Yeah, and I totally agree. Rangers are an absolutely huge club. You're right, that derby is a monster fixture. There's no doubt about it. I think physically, as you say, it would toughen him up. And whilst there have been some who, as you say, have looked good up there and not really done anything down here, there's also been a number who've excelled up there and come down and done a really good job. So he could well be one of those. If he does, he needs to go out on loan. I thought he's perhaps not. I would have got out on loan sooner than he has done so far. But I do think with a run of games, then he forces himself into the mix. He comes back, does a good pre-season. Hopefully, he bulks up a little bit. It's not as much as just eating and all the rest of it. He needs to fill out naturally. He's a young lad, and as he gets to sort of 18, 19, he's going to do that. He's already a tall boy. He just needs to, to put a bit of meat on the bone, so to speak. And I know games don't instantly make that happen, but it might just make him a little bit more robust. We know he's got the footballing skills. We hope he's got the footballing brain. So, yeah, big thumbs up.
It's just like adding street cred to your game, really, isn't it? Knowing where and when to duck out a challenge. Like, just things managers will tell you and coaches will tell you, but until you actually come up against it and experience it, you just won't learn. I think it's just adding that sort of streak know-how to your game, and that's what you can only get by playing. But do you not worry though? Do you not worry it'll leave us light in the centre back positions? I mean, obviously Ogbonna's out for the season now. We've obviously got Fonte in, but we've got Fonte, Reid, and Collins. But then after that, it's a bit sparse.
No, not really. Kiate comes back. He's always an option there. I think Reece Oxford spent too much time at West Ham, just in case we need a centre back. I think he's sick of filling that void, filling that role, that understudies position,
Yeah, that's my only concern about the move. That it's kind of our fourth centre back we're letting go out on loan. But then, Bullich made a choice to sort of let Ogbonna play injured for months instead of put Ginge in the first team and have Reece's third choice. And I suppose Nordvik can play there as well as Czechia. As much as I don't want to see Nordvik lining up centre back, needs must fifth choice type centre back. So yeah, one to watch actually. Reece Oxford. There's a lot of talk about it as well up here as well as down in England. So I think there's legs to this. I think this is something that could actually happen quite soon. So we'll wait and see. But let's talk about some of the smaller links to West Ham. Ashley Young.
Yeah, funny one really. If we don't need Snodgrass, we don't need Ashley Young, I would say. I was reminded of Ashley Young when he was at Watford. They were under A.D. Boothroyd, and I think Kirbishley was our manager, and we bid for him, and Aston Villa bid for him, and I think we bid 10 million for him. I think we had a bit of money at the time, and he chose to go to Aston Villa. So I guess as his career has panned out, he went to Aston Villa, did very well, got transferred to Man United, and he's played for England. So you could argue that he made the right decision. But he still turned us down. And he didn't turn us down for Man United, he turned us down for Aston Villa. So, and I think we actually got Lundberg instead, which was Crikey, that turned out well, didn't it? Blimey. Or Kieran Dyer, maybe. So I don't know. Again, I think if we were desperate, this is going to come down. I'm going to be saying this a lot over this transfer window. If we were still in the bottom, we weren't on 28 points. I think guys like that, you bring them in, they get a job, they come in, they make 4 or 5 assists between now and the end of the season, and it makes a difference in your points tally. I think, do we need him now? Probably not. I think he's a wide player, and we're doing all right in those positions.
The difference between him and Snodgrass, though, that I like is that Young's only a loan move. I don't think we need a permanent one, but I think someone to just be there for the next 5 months, just in case. I think actually, a lot of people have been saying he's a cheat, etc. And he is. He's got that horrible side of the game that you don't want to see. And we've criticised on this channel. And to be fair, West Ham fans in general have criticised Payet when he had a couple of dives. Every West Ham fan said, enough of that, mate. We don't want to see that West Ham. Thank you very much. And that's something Young would have to eliminate from his game. But I think he has, to an extent. It's not as bad as he was when he was at Watford and Villa. And I know Fergie tried to clamp it down on him, but he's still good for a tumble. In the box and a bit of bird poo in his mouth. He's good at catching bird poop in his mouth. But so for a loan move, would you give it a thumbs up or the thumbs down?
I think the trouble is with a player like that, he wants a loan move because he's not getting games at Man United. And I think any sort of loan deal that, whilst you can't put it into the contract, the loan move will be on the understanding that he plays a set number of games. Like Wilshere's loan move. Wilshere from Arsenal to Bournemouth was only done because Cazorla got injured, but for whatever, Granit Xhaka or if. Do you ever see that song, by the way, that Granit Xhaka song on the old social media?
You can sing it. Go sing it.
I can't even remember. It was done to Frere Xhaka, wasn't it? It was some geezer, and he's playing the piano, but you can't see his hands, and he's playing the piano. He's going Granit Xhaka. Oh, crikey! It was really, really bad, really bad. I mean, you might have done it, but to post it on the internet is, I guess I've just posted it on the internet technically. But anyway, so anyway, the point is the loan move is done on the proviso to get a set number of games. We couldn't guarantee him those games, and he may well come and actually sit behind Faguli, certainly Antonio. Lanzini might play a couple of games wide. He's not going to be guaranteed. So for that reason, what's the point in him coming here and being frustrated on our bench?
Yeah, that's my take on it as well. I think we could do with cover for a left winger with Payet out, and Young can play there. Funnily enough, he can actually cover right back as well. It's got that sort of versatility to it, which would be good. What about, it's gone quiet, but Sigurdsson, I've actually gone off the idea of him for some reason. I think it's just because he plays in Lanzini's role. Now, we don't want someone coming in Lanzini's space. Get out of Lanzini's space, leave Lanzini's space for Lanzini. And if we do get someone in to replace Payet, I want to see a natural left winger, actually. I want to see someone who's someone who can play ahead of Cresswell and build a relationship with Cresswell naturally. I'll let you have this other guy. Mike asked us last time about Niang. It looks like he's off to Watford on loan. Are you disappointed we've not got him, or are you just...
I am not at all disappointed because I started to do whenever we get linked with somebody, hopefully a few of you have seen the Who Are You sequence we do, where we try and put a little scouting video together, which is on our second channel, Hammers Chat 2. Have a look for it. We'll put the link in. We put a sequence together so it's pertinent. Scouting videos are pertinent to West Ham. Okay, so we look at what they can do for West Ham. So whenever we get linked with a player, I start to get the footage ready and start to watch it just in case we look like we're about to sign him. And all I can say is Bambi on ice. I probably spent an hour looking at footage from him yesterday, and he spends as much time falling over as he does doing skillful stuff. He looks like his legs are a little bit too long. He's out. He constantly loses control of the ball. He's got some skill. He can be skillful when he's in control of the ball, but he's constantly stretching to get control of the ball. And I think the way to say it was he's very unbalanced. Skillful, fast, but unbalanced. I'm not disappointed, no.
No, neither am I, but I don't know a lot about him. I heard the name, but can't say I've seen him play football. Another one that Jinx threw up, which I'm not seen us linked to before, is Wood of Leeds. He's saying that we've inquired about Chris Wood of Leeds. It's quite a outside call, I think. He sort of bangs them in the Championship. Do you think he'd maybe be a suitable alternative to Hogan?
He scored. Yeah, I think he scored in their last game. I think since Gary Monk's there, isn't he, at Elland Road, and he's got they've got a mental owner, haven't they? They've got a frigging megalomaniac owner who's totally dysfunctional. He sort of goes through managers very, very quickly, but he seems to have calmed down a bit and got Gary Monk in there. He's settled in. Yeah, the guy is scoring well. I don't know much about him at all. He's scoring well, and he scored a good goal either the last game or the game before. I don't know. I don't know. I'd imagine the probably last thing Leeds need to do is lose any more players. I mean, they lost a player to Bournemouth in the summer. They've been hemorrhaging players for a while before that. But no, I wouldn't want to do that. I think if what we've done is highlighted Defoe as our main choice, and then Hogan is our second choice. I think if we don't get Defoe, fair enough. Then just go and get Hogan. This has been our problem actually. Don't then go and keep looking down the list, because you end up with a load of old rubbish. I think that's what we did a lot in the summer. I think we highlighted first choices, and we almost wrote a selection of 7 players for each position and ended up with our 7th choice in each one. And I certainly think that is what we did with our centre forward. Zaza must have been 5th or 6th on the list. And I just think it's a bad policy. So no, I say leave him alone, leave him at Leeds.
Whenever I've seen him, I've only seen him a few times. He's not. I've never watched him and thought, wow, I wouldn't mind seeing him at West Ham, but he does score. But I'm not so sure he'd make the step up. I think he was at Leicester. I think he came from Leicester, so he had a chance to step up, but he didn't take it, so went back to Leeds. Well, maybe one rumour to keep an eye on. Also, this is another strange one. Jinx has said that we've inquired about Jason Puncheon of Crystal Palace.
Funny one, Puncheon, because he was a journeyman, really, for most of his career. He looked like showing a bit of form at Southampton. I mean, he went to Palace, and he's done well. He's really sort of found a home there. Allardyce has come in, and it's hard to see any long-term future for him under Allardyce. Really, he's a funny one, because he was originally a right winger. He played most of his career at right wing, and then he sort of moved into the centre more. So I don't know really where we would play him. And again, he's not young. He's had his career. He's not young. I don't know how old he is, but I would imagine Puncheon is 29, 30, 31. He's not.
He's older than that.
I say, yeah. I mean, yeah. There you go. He's not a young man, so it'd be a strange one, really. Again, we keep getting linked with these. I think we're in a perfect position now. I can say it again. Everyone could bore everyone's senses. We're in a perfect position. The wins have given us some breathing space. I think now. You know, like last season, we almost couldn't blood the youngsters because we were going for Europe. Oh, no, we can't. We're almost in a perfect position now where we can blood some youngsters, have a look at some players, or bring in someone like Hogan and have a look at him almost with the pressure off between now until the end of the season. I see little value. We've already done it in Font. Okay, Ogbonna's injured. We know why that was done. That's done. He's in. We welcome him. We support him. I'd see little point in bringing in a whole raft of 30-year-olds, basically. No point.
Good player, not for me. I'll admire him at Crystal Palace, but I don't want to see him in a West Ham shirt. That's me summing up my views on Puncheon anyway, but another one to keep an eye out for. Is there any transfers, rumours, or that I've missed out we're not spoken about yet?
No. As I say, I was started making videos last night. It was Niang and Snodgrass. Snodgrass. Funny name, actually. That was the only 2 I was looking at, and I think we've discussed it all today. Oxford's the big news today for me.
Yeah, I think that one. I think we'll be talking about East Oxford to Rangers on the next cup of tea as well. Actually, given how I think it'll go through. There is a small whisper actually. I'd seen it just before I came on here. I've not wrote it down, and that's Roma are back in for Faguli for about 8 million or something like that. Would you take 8 million for Faguli?
No. For the same reason that I've just said, we don't need it. The pressure's off. We've now got a real chance to have a look at Faguli. Payet's been a very naughty boy. He's having his bum smacked in the reserve. So we get a chance to look at Faguli, and we can say to Faguli, there you go, mate. Have 10 games, have 15 games, have a good run at it. We'll find out how good you are. Is 8 million going to make any difference to our coffers now? No. We're going to go and do anything with that 8 million? Probably not. So, I mean, if we've got 8, it looks like we've got 9 million to sign Hogan. So it's hardly like we're desperate for it. I would rather not take the 8 million, keep Faguli, than take 9 million, spend it on Snodgrass. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Let's have a look. He looks quite skillful. Looks like he can cross. Let's have a look what he can do.
I don't think we can lose keeping Faguli actually. Come the summer, if he's not very good in the next 4 months, come the summer we can offload him. We might not get 8 million, but we'll still pick up a little bit of money for him. And if he turns out to be really good, then we've got our right winger sorted for next season, or certainly a very good player for next season to compete with Antonio. The Chelsea fixture got changed today. It's now on a Monday night. Thank you very much, Sky TV. Points for February. Let's do an outside one. The live chat can join in as well. I'll keep an eye on the live chat. So fire your points prediction like this. I put out a poll about this last week, and there was a thread on the forum as well, giving your predictions. Our 4 fixtures are Man City at home, Southampton away, West Brom at home, and Watford away. What's your point prediction
for February?
Yeah.
I think we could possibly get 9 points. I think we'll get 7.
I said 5. I think City at home are hit and miss. You don't know what City is going to turn up, but also you don't know what West Ham are going to turn up against Man City. That's the problem, because I think we've all still got nightmares from the last time they came at the start of this month when they absolutely tore us apart. And they're strong down the sides, and that's where Cresswell and Byram look shaky against Middlesbrough. So that's a big worry there. But then we play Southampton away, who we've never won. We've never won at the St Mary's. But Van Dijk's now out for 3 months or something, so they've just lost Van Dijk and Fonte, and that's going to be Fonte's first away game for us. And then West Brom at home, they're in good form, but that's a must-win. We absolutely have to beat West Brom. And then at the end of the month, got Watford away. Zarate. Oh, Zarate's over at Watford. You were a big fan of Zarate. Please see him back in the Premier League, but for the wrong club.
I am, and I just want to get this right because I've written this on the forum. 20 minutes ago, I wrote this on the forum. Okay, I was a big fan of Zarate, and I'll tell you exactly why. That under Sam Allardyce, the worst football I've seen since Lou Macari. It was awful, and we had players like Diarra, Matty Taylor, people like we had really functional midfielders, and we lacked any class and any flair. And at West Ham, I was brought up with Trevor Brook in Devonshire, Stuart Slater, Jarl Berkovic, people like that, who basically had to control the ball, tricks and flicks and manipulate it. And we had this terrible team, and then suddenly Allardyce he brought in Zarate, he brought in Ravel Morrison, and he brought in Joe Cole. And he deployed Joe Cole all wrong. He deployed him on the wing. He didn't like Ravel Morrison, and he didn't like Zarate really. But it was the one time when I'd be at a game watching us hoof it, and we used to play pass and stand still football under Sam Allardyce. And the one glimpses of joy I get was I remember he scored the winner at Crystal Palace, scored a lovely goal against Arsenal. When Zarate used to come on, or Morrison used to come, or Joe Cole used to come on, I used to think, well, do you know what? At least we're going to see some technique now. So actually, would Zarate get in our team now? No. But at the time, it was a little bit of something. It was, and you know what? He cost us nothing. We sold him for $1.5 million. He scored some goals, showed some skill. Yeah, I liked him.
Our board would have been loving that little profit there. He was one of those players that never lived up to his potential for me, not just at West Ham, but sort of like a career sort of thing. Like when he was at Birmingham, he looked like when we got him in, I thought, oh, this is a really good signing. This is a really good signing. And we never saw him. Sometimes he just looked really disinterested from the game and stuff. He just looked like he couldn't even be arsed. He didn't want to be there very much. So this is very disappointing. You were almost like prodding him sometimes in the crowd. You were trying to prod him, going, do something. Come on, do something. Because the worst thing is he was capable and everyone knew he was capable, but sometimes it just looked like he just did not want to do it. And it was frustrating, but we could see him at Watford, apart from when we played him. But surely he's going to score against us.
Well, him, Barami and Diamanti. Yeah, all 3 of them 3-0 to Rock, imagine.
Is Diamanti still there?
I thought so. I don't know. I'm no expert on Watford. Although I should do, shouldn't I? I meant to study their songs before each game, aren't I? Remember?
Yeah, that person on the ball again. But just as a right, people in the live chat, we're going to do your questions. So start firing them in. I'll keep an eye on them. And just while they're doing that, Gonzo, just as a outside type thing to do, who do you think is going down this season?
Before I say that, I want to say hello to Louis. Hello, Louis. I've got a smashing letter from your dad. Hello, thanks for watching. Who's going down? Sunderland look terrible.
Well, do you think signing Leigh Scott is literally confirmed relegation for them?
Desperate. I thought he'd retired.
Well, did you see? I don't think he's played football since the summer, but did you see the photo of him? He's got moves.
So have I, but so have I, mate. I can still do a job for Sunderland better than they could.
To be fair, so has Dimitri Payet for the last 4 months.
Hull, obviously. Well, I say obviously. Borough could get sucked into it, you know. If they don't hang on to that Traore, they could get sucked into it. Palace are right down. Do you know what? I don't want poor old Marcus, my mate Marcus. I don't want to heap misery on him, but I'd love to see Sam at the end of the season, if you know what I mean. I'd love to see Sam being a bit miserable.
Yeah, I think Sunderland have confirmed relegation. I think Hull will go. I think this new manager, I don't know his name, but I think he's bringing in someone to replace Snodgrass like that. So I think he wants to bring someone in, but he just needs the money, and that's why Snodgrass gets sold. Dangerous game to play. In January, that's a very dangerous game to play. It's almost like he's decided to gamble, and I'm not sure Snodgrass is someone you want to gamble with, because you know what you're getting at Hull with Snodgrass, and it's not a bad thing. And the third one's up for grabs. Swansea's given themselves a fighting chance by beating Liverpool.
Well, they look good. And Paul Clement going in there. You spoke about Sigurdsson earlier. Paul Clement going in is a big reason for Sigurdsson to stay. He's going to play his type of football. He was at Chelsea. He was a coach at Real Madrid. Didn't work out so well for him at Derby. But he's got a chance. And he's got young Tom Carroll there, who looked sensational. He was a really good youngster, Tom Carroll. Never quite made it at Tottenham. Looked sensational in his first game. So, yeah, I could see Swansea getting out of it, to be honest with you.
They've got Llorente scoring goals as well now. He's banging them in away from home as well. But I think it's between Swansea and Middlesbrough. I think Burnley's got enough to stay away from it, but it looks like it could be between them two actually down the bottom. And like you said, Crystal Palace. Right, look, Stevenson says, who would you make as the next level signing? What's the first signing you would make? You know, in the summer, come the summer, right? Not this window, but come the summer, we keep getting told about the next level. So who would you bring in as your kind of like the first signing to signal this is the next level?
Well, I'm going to stick with what I said before, and that is Daniel Sturridge. Because Daniel Sturridge, if he was fit all the time, costs you 50, 60 million. We don't have the 50, 60 million, but I do think he's a level up from what we have. I think you get him for 25. He clearly has no future at Liverpool. That would signal intent. It would signal big intent straight away. He knows the league. You have to put up with the fact that he might get an injury now and again. He does a stupid dance when he scores. But aside from that, he's a very, very good player.
I would probably go for Perisic, actually. I like that question that someone asked about Perisic. And the more I think about it, you know, we spoke about Chris Wood from Leeds. The thought of getting Perisic gives me Wood. And he's the type of player I want to see it with.
Oh dear.
So, sorry to Louis, by the way. I know your dad's a nice player.
No, he's fine. They don't worry about Louis. Leave. Yeah.
But Perisic is, for me, next level. I think he's actually more gettable than some people think. Because Inter Milan, big club, big name, but they're not quite hitting it like they used to. I think the giants of Milan have fallen a little bit. He's next. Yeah, he's enough to get fans excited. I think this window, the players we're linked with, Snodgrass, Hogan, and whoever it is, they're good players in their own demeanour, and they're good enough for West Ham, but they don't really make us all go, oh, imagine that. And Perisic is someone to get you excited. That your kid will be like, Dad, if I get that, I'm getting him on my shirt like that. You know. There's probably been a few, but I don't know if anyone's turned around and go, Dad, can I please get Fonte on the back of my shirt? You know, he's a good player. I like Fonte, etc. But
you make a good point. I know we're in the middle of a Q&A. If we're going to go up to 60,000, then 66,000, okay, we're going to need to sell more tickets. I know the waiting list, blah, 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 blah. There's no doubt about it. We need to sell more tickets. And big players, put bums on seats, and make no mistake about it. If we signed a big player, we would sell 2,000-3,000 more season tickets off the back of it, because it would signal intent in a way that, as you say, no disrespect to Snodgrass or Scott Hogan, no one's going out and buying a new ticket. Well, crikey, that's it. I'm going to go and get a Band Aid season ticket on the strength of that. So yeah, I totally agree.
Billy Wiz asks, if you had to sell 3 players in the summer, who would they be? What 3 players do you want to see leave? For me, there's one obvious one, but I'm going to wait for you. Is
that Billy? Is that Billy off the forum? Is it?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. Billy, Wiz, are you off the forum? Let yourself know and reveal yourself.
Yeah, that's a tough question. Deary me. Oh, horrible. Ginge.
But do you not think, though, given what's happened with Payet, right? I'm not Ginger's biggest lover, and everyone that watches us regularly will know. When he signed a new deal, I said I didn't think that's the right thing. I think it would have been good to let him go last summer on a high. Say thank you very much, but for me, after this whole Payet thing, I think he's the type of bloke I want to see at West Ham. Actually, like just with that passion and stuff.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think
Remember, I pointed out to you. I said to you, when we played Palace and we scored the second, I said to you, look at Ginge. Everyone was celebrating. Ginge was in the middle of our half on his own, just going, come on! He was punching the ground and waving and stuff. He didn't even score. He was nowhere near the goal. But he was just like the Green Hulk just because we scored. And that's the type of bloke that I want at my football club. And he's only got next year to go. I say we just leave him. Just let him out.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be disappointed. I meant for him as much as anyone. You look at my Chelsea vlog, you see how much I love him. He's proper, he's great. And when he kicked that ball into the crowd and it hit the, do you remember it hit the kid and he sent that lovely letter and that? So he's a good man. He's a top man. I mean, more for him is just if Oxford's coming through and we're signing other centre backs, he clearly doesn't have a future there at the club. I think we probably need to. I like him. He's my favourite striker. I think if Sacco can't sort it out, we probably need to get rid of Sacco. And if Ayew doesn't do it, he's got a lot to do. We spent 20 million on that guy. He comes back from the African nations and he has a second half of the season like his first half of the season. Basically, he's injured or not involved, or we can't find a position for him. Then it's 20 million really doing nothing. It could probably be better invested elsewhere. That's as good as I can do, Bill. But you give me that. You put me on the spot there. I would probably give me an hour and I'd probably think of 3 different ones.
I'm going to take Sacco. I think he's even more injury prone than Carroll. I think you can get away with one injury prone striker. I think if you have 2 good ones plus a good injury prone one, you can get away with that. Carroll's my injury prone striker. Sacco, out you get, son. As soon as he's fit, I wouldn't play him again for the rest of the season. Just let him play under 23 games, keep him fit, and just package him up and put a bow on him and slap his arse. See you later. Thank you very much. Arbeloa is the obvious one. Contract's up. We need a right back in the summer. Off you go. And the third one, which leads me on to my next question, my third one is Adrian. I just think that it's almost like it's come to the point that the love affair is over a little bit. And, it was romantic while it lasted. We love him. He gets the club. But it's got to the point now that I just see Randolph better than in almost every department as a goalkeeper. And it brings me on to Connor's question. Do we need a next level goalkeeper in the summer?
Connor?
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's thinking about Joe Hart a bit there. Randolph's been very good. I've got to say, I've been very impressed with him. I think we decide more at the end of the season. But, Connor, I wouldn't be disappointed if Joe Hart came in, I must say. Yeah.
What about Begovic? Do you think he's enough to boot Randolph out the team? Or
I'd rather not. He was good at Stoke, wasn't he? He was very good at Stoke. Bit part player at Chelsea for a while. Stoke were always waiting for Butland to come through. Butland I would take, I've got to say. If we could somehow get him off of Stoke. Trouble is, every Premier League club's got money now. Stoke will be going out in the summer and buying someone for 30 million because every Premier League club's got that money now, so you'd never get him. If we get someone like that, I would consider that keeper to be next level. I'd get him. I'm not sure I'd rock the boat for Begovic.
I prefer Begovic to Hart myself. I think Hart's just not injury prone, error prone. I think he's big error prone as well. The amount of times I've seen him concede a goal, it's his fault. He did it for England in the Euros, for example, and I just think, that's why I don't like Adrian. I wouldn't want the same thing again. He's better than Adrian. I'm not saying that. I think he's better than Adrian. I just think he's got too much errors in him. The keeper I'd go for is Pickford, just because I think if you're going to, it would cost a lot of money, like you said. As soon as I think he's a bit like a Batshuayi. As soon as one team slaps some money down for Pickford, everyone's going to be queuing up with the same amount of money behind you, and it's going to be a case of who gets him. But I think if you paid big bucks for him, you're getting a keeper for the next decade, and you're getting like a Premier League standard keeper. He's been one of the best keepers in the league this year. You're getting him for the next 10 years, and that's who I would go for. Paul asks, does the lack of youth by Slav concern you?
Yes, Paul. Yes, it does. That's probably the... Slav's a great motivator. He understands the club. He's got a lot going for him. I think he can get it tactically wrong sometimes. He looks better at the moment. Having said that, and good, I'm really, really pleased. I mean, that's, you know, unless we could get someone like Conte or a very, very top level manager, someone like Slav is perfect for the club. His one downfall is the fact that he doesn't risk youth really. And as I've said, aboard everyone's silly. Great position this season to actually go and give some youth a chance. I'm sure he was banking on us not losing to Astra again and staying in that Mickey Mouse Europa competition for a little while and being able to blood some of the youngsters. It hasn't happened, but we're a good, yes, it does bother me.
It might be a Mickey Mouse competition, but if we were to play our youngsters, we could almost create our own little Disney film out of it if it was successful.
Mickey Mouse and Disney.
Yeah, you get me. But it frustrates me. It's my biggest pet hate about Slav. I've made it perfectly clear. There's a thread on the forum right now talking about how each Premier League position come the end of the season is worth 2 million. So and someone said, "Oh, maybe this is why the youth aren't getting played, so we can get up a couple of spaces." I said, "Well, is this the price tag we're putting on, given our kids' experience? The 2 positions are worth 4 million. Is that 4 million? Is that what we're saying? 4 million, or giving the kids experience? I'll have the money, please." And for me, giving experience to kids is priceless, and I'd almost wipe that 4 million off. But then again, I'm a football fan. I'm fickle. Come the summer, if they said, "Well, because we finished 15th, we've lost out on 10 million of transfer budget," I'd sit here going, we should have finished 10th. We should have. But I'm fickle. But the player I want to see the most has just gone out on loan to Wigan. But yeah, it frustrates me. I think it just frustrates me more that Bilic has Oxford on the bench and Keane on the bench, but we're 3-0 up against Palace and takes on Ashley Fletcher. Now, it's nothing against Ashley Fletcher, but there's every time you bring on a kid, it's at home in front of 50,000 West Ham fans who are absolutely bouncing. And remember, we were bouncing on that day at time. When Ashley Fletcher came on, everyone was cheering as if it was a £10 million signing coming onto the field, just because we were all so happy. And I tried to make the point, now, if you were to take Reece Oxford on in that surroundings, given that he signed a contract and that, the place would have went mental. All he would have to do is make a tackle, and it would have went mental again. And he would have come off the pitch buzzing. He'd been on the pitch for 5 minutes, and his confidence would have went woof. So sometimes it is about game time, but sometimes it's about confidence. It's about letting them feel the crowd, etc. as well. Keep your questions coming. Just to let you know, we're doing our votes for the Man City. We're not charging a penny. It's free to get in. The details are on the forum, or you can email us, hammerschat@gmail.com. Now, the reason we're doing no fee is we're going to have a bucket at the gate, and any donations are going towards Gonzo and his fundraising for the Bobby Moore charity. We've done our best to raise a little bit of cash for him this season, and we're still looking for ways to support him. So, that's Hammer's Chat's contribution.
You do have to book though. It's not a free for all. We do have a capacity there. We can't have 10,000 people coming down the boats because that's sink.
Yep. Paul is asking again. I think it was him that asked about the kids in the first place. So he's back. He's not happy with our answer, or he wants to expand. He says, "If you were Bilic, who would you choose to blood, Oxford or Burke?"
Well, I mean, we had this last week, Paul, and the last show. I would pick Oxford to go in because I do think he's rumoured to be the best young defender in Europe, so they say. But I'd also like to see an attacker as well. Now, for the past 2 seasons, it's been Samuelson. But again, he seems to have disappeared off the radar. I don't know if we've missed a trick. I think some of these guys could have been blooded a little bit earlier. So I'd like to see Samuelson or Queener give it a go for the reasons that Gio just said.
Did you just say that you think Reece Oxford is one of the best defenders in Europe, the young defenders?
No, I said he's rumoured to be one of the best young defenders in Europe. So up and coming. You know, if you look on any of these lists, they'll say who's the next generation coming through. I'm not talking about people that have played games. Yeah, they say who's the best 17-year-old and all that. Yeah, exactly, that type of thing. Yeah.
Squawker. Squawker says, Matthew says, "Do you fancy any African nations player?" Now, for me personally, I'm into women, not men. But do you fancy any of them?
Matthew, no. In all honesty, I think we've got enough African players, to be honest with you. That's why I was really keen for us to bring Sturridge in when we were looking at other strikers. I just thought it really annoys me. That tournament annoys me every other year, slap bang in the middle of the season. If they could just do that every 4 years and then have it at the same time where whatever it's called, the South American Copa, whatever it's called, is going on, then fine, let's do it. We'll have as many as possible. But I think it's a real hindrance to any team that you lose these guys for at best 4 weeks, sometimes 6 if they go through to the qualifying round, and they might get injured.
Malaria.
They might get malaria. Yeah. Or is that what he's got? Is it Ayew who's got malaria?
He doesn't have it. I think it was a false rumor. I think.
Yeah. So no, regardless, there's some really skillful players over there. I would like to see us have 2 African players maximum.
Charlie, Beardy Charlie's just appeared. It says, where do you think Samuelson's going to end up? Do you think he'll make it?
Our Charlie?
Yeah, our Charlie.
Isn't he meant to be doing a video?
Yeah, where is the tour video, Charlie?
Where's that video, Charlie? What are you doing watching a cup of tea? You should be editing a video. What does he want to know?
He says, Samuelson, where do you think Samuelson's going to end up? Will he make it at West Ham?
I'm worried that he won't, actually. I'm quite worried that he won't. He should do. I think he's gone back to Peterborough. Is that right? Because he went out to Blackburn Rovers and they never played him, even though they were crap. Was it Owen Coyle? I think Owen Coyle was in charge at Blackburn Rovers. Maybe still is. I might have this wrong. And he just didn't play him at all. So now I think he's gone to Peterborough, which is a division below. So hopefully he's playing. He got Barry Friday. Barry really rates him, raves about him all the time. He needs to tear He needs to tear it up there, and if he doesn't, then he might not make it, and he might be one of these players with huge promise who doesn't do anything.
He worries me, actually. He's the player I'm most worried about. We speak about players who you're most excited by, who you're most looking forward to. Samuelson's the one that worries me, because when we seen him in the friendlies, etc., I thought, ooh, this boy's excited. We all got excited. But remember, I think we all got excited. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he signed in the same summer as Payet and Lanzini.
Yes.
Right. So it was almost like the first time for a long time we've seen someone just step over. So we're all like, whoa, right? There's no doubt he's got flair. No doubt. There's no doubt he can beat a man. But I do worry that he's just going to, I don't know. I've seen skillful players that are 18, 19 years old that go into the lower leagues and just don't get out again. Like, I suppose Freddie Sears, etc. You know, Junior Stanislas got lucky. He went to Bournemouth and Bournemouth come up. If Bournemouth hadn't come up, he'd probably still be in the lower leagues. And I actually do genuinely worry about Samuelson. I mean, I hope he makes it. I think he can make it, but this next 2 years are bigger for him than any other of our young players, in my opinion.
Well, the best one I saw, West Ham, for years. I used to stay up late at night, and I used to when I first got Sky, I used to stay up and I used to record all the stuff, and I used to watch sort of under 16s, under 15s, under 20s. Used to watch all the England games. We had a guy called Kyle Reid, if you remember him. He was left-footed. He was a sensational player. 15, I think he was playing for England under 16s at 14 or something like that. He just looked like he was going to be the best player in the world, and he never did anything. Just sometimes they just don't. Like the other cup of tea, we asked about Niang before I watched the video, and you asked me about him, and I said, yeah, he used to be the future. And it just sort of, almost never happened. I'd say that I don't want that to happen to Samuelson. I don't want it to be somebody who we just talked about who had promise and did nothing.
Yeah, but wait.
Don't do your video, Charlie.
Time will tell. Mike Mineta has been shouting at me a couple of times, but I keep missing it. He says, I think I know the answer to this for you, but I'll ask you anyway, just to keep shutting him up. He says, do you think we should get a centre midfielder? He's worried that if Obiang was to get an injury, we'd be lacking something in that department. I
do, Mike. Hello, mate. I think we need a more dynamic central midfielder, certainly if we're going to play 2 in them. But sorry, Gio's smirking. He's got a question coming up. I think we need a more dynamic central midfielder. And if we're going to play a 2 in the middle, what I am worried about, Mike, is that we keep highlighting these other positions, and still in 6 months' time, we're talking about this striker and this right back that we need. I would like us to sign. If we get to the end of this window and have a window about signing a striker or a right back, I think, oh my goodness, but we've got another midfielder or another centre back. I think, oh crikey, So yeah, we probably do, but let's get the others in first, Mike.
Yeah, not for me, centre midfield. If Obiang gets injured, okay, it's a panic to an extent. It's one of our better players this season, but we've still got Kiate, Noble, Nordveit, Visok for
Fernandez
there. Fernandez, Lanzini can play plenty cover, in my opinion. Probably the last position to spend money in, to be honest with you, apart from left back. And it leads us on to Gary's question, which will probably be our final question, because we've been here for ages now. It's coming up to an hour. Gary says, is Mark Noble's career, or what, you didn't say career, I can't remember word for word. Here he is. Mark Noble's role at the club nearly over. Do you think we play better without him?
Gary.
Yeah.
No. He's Mark Noble's career at West Ham is nowhere close to being over. I don't think he should always be guaranteed a starting spot. But Mark Noble, invariably, once he's had a couple of bad games, will come back and have a real storming game and influence something. And there's what Gio said about Ginge earlier. People like that, you can't have enough of those type of people around your club, and he is Mr. West Ham. And whilst I don't think that guarantees you a starting role every time, I certainly do think that in a 25-man squad there is room for people that know the club, understand the club, and love the club. And I would hope to think that as we progress as a club in the next 2 or 3 years, we keep improving the players, and everyone in that team, hopefully in 2 or 3 years, will be under risk of someone better coming in. No one should be guaranteed anything, but I do think for his loyalty, because he loves West Ham, I do think his Mark Noble's career is nowhere close to being over at West Ham. Well, I certainly hope it's not.
He worries me a bit. I think I love him too much in a way, but it's just when I worry that he's been playing at a high intensity for West Ham for his whole career, which is now over 10 years long. He's been training. He's hardly ever injured, so he literally doesn't get a break. And it's a bit like when you look at when you look at all English players as being at the top level, like Wayne Rooney, example. He's almost finished. He's not finished, but he's struggling a little bit. His form's nowhere near what people thought it would be, and he's only like 31 or something. I think it's just because of the physicality of the Premier League, etc. over here. And I think Mark is starting to suffer from that and suffer from his own sort of 100% commitment week in, week out. And sometimes he's just too determined to cover every blade of the grass on the pitch and fight for the cause that he's his own worst enemy sometimes. It's when the first half against Crystal Palace, we were struggling to make things happen. I remember Mark Noble charging down the right wing, trying to get a cross in. I thought, well, I appreciate it and it's good you're doing it, but that's not your role. Like, sometimes I just think he does too much, and it's a shame, but he's one guy I would hand a contract for a life to tomorrow if I could. Just say, you retire when you want, mate. There's no pressure. Your contract's not going to run out of West Ham. You retire when you want. When you do, there's a role here for you. Doing whatever, but he's one guy we have to look after. We preach about loyalty left, right, and centre. We're slagging off Dimitri Payet for the lack of it, and we've got Mr. West Ham. And we need to make sure that guy feels like Mr. West Ham even when he's not good enough. He's still there. He's still at the club, and he's still the club captain. A lot of people ask about captain. Do not take it off Mark, in my opinion. Even if he only plays 5 games a season, for me, he's captain for those 5 games. In the changing room at halftime, he can still do that, even if he's not on the pitch. He can still. He could almost be like Slav's, almost like unofficial assistant manager if he's not playing. No ball is for life, not just Christmas.
He certainly is. I've got to say, I've had a couple of messages this week about my cup. It's my daughter's cup. I do have a West Ham mug. You two people. But I did have a West Ham mug. It was a Sacco one. But as I told Gio, the handle fell off. So I don't have a West Ham mug. I am getting a West Ham mug. I've taken a bit of stick, Gio, about not having. We were doing a cup of tea with Gio and Gonzo, and I don't have a West Ham mug. So
I don't have a West. Well, I'm not using a West Ham one. I got my Buzz Lightyear one today.
Yeah, but that's sort of that's the Red Hammer signature Buzz Lightyear.
People on YouTube don't know what the hell you're trying about. They're saying, "Who's Red Hammer?"
He's Red Hammer. That one, the Scottish one, is Red Hammer, and his logo is Buzz Lightyear.
Anyway, now we've got a couple of favours for you guys. If you've watched this, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button. Be kind. Give it a thumbs. I think it's in this corner actually. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We like subscribers. It makes us feel good. So make us feel good. Give us some love. It's free. And also the flag fund. The flag fund, as we said, there's no obligation to donate, etc. But the link is below. If you've got a spare couple of quid and you've fancy chipping in for a Hammers Chat flag at a London stadium, it'll happen. It's going to happen. But Gonzo, is there anything else you would like to say before we disappear?
No, thank you for watching, and we do really enjoy doing these shows. We've had loads of nice feedback this week. We've had loads of nice stuff, and it's very, very much appreciated. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well. But if you could say some nice things about Gonzo as well, that would be good. I do appreciate all the good stuff. But there was someone I was going to say, tour video will be up sometime. I'm hoping Friday, but we don't know when. Depends on Charlie. We're waiting on Charlie, so hopefully Charlie can get it done for Friday. And Sunday night we'll be live with our preview for the Man City game. We've got a new guest. You've not seen him on Hammers Chat before. So Sunday night, make sure you tune in. But we'll be back with a cup of tea, maybe on Saturday night or something. Keep your eyes out on the forum. Keep your eyes out on our social media. Until then, don't go anywhere.